following Vandenberg's third album, things had kind of gone a bit off the boil, hadn't they, for the band? And David Coverdale had approached you a couple of times previously to join Whitesnake, and it hadn't been the right time for you. So when had he approached you before, and why wasn't it quite right at that point for you?
The very first time was the first Vandenberg album wasn't even released, I think.
Okay.
So I assume he heard the demo at Phil Carson's office. And then he invited me to come to the show in Utrecht. And backstage, he said, so how about joining Whitesnake? And at the same time, we tried to charm my girlfriend at the time. And she said, who is that man? I said, no, it's Coverdale. He's like one of the greatest singers ever, but I couldn't do it. I told the man, just recorded my fifth album. I can't let Phil Carson down. I can't let the guys down. I can't do it. I would love to. So we stayed in touch, and he asked me again when they headlined Donington in 1983 that I was recording the second album in Jimmy Page's studio. I was in the crowd. So that was, I said, man, bad timing again. Let's stay in touch. Sooner or later, the right time is going to come up. And that was at the end of '86 when I got invited by John Colodny to come to the States to talk about a new contract for Vandenberg. But he wanted to put a new lineup together in LA with top-class musicians because he didn't like the rest of the lineup. And he said, well, I got another proposition for you. I would really like you to join Whitesnake. And then I said, please give me 1 or 2 days to think about it because it didn't involve just me, but also the people who were pressuring me, my management, guys in the band. And he said, well, while you're here, would you mind making a new guitar arrangement and play a solo? And here I go again, because he didn't like the version that John Sykes did at the time. He described it as a heavy metal band playing a country or western song. So it was pretty funny. But so I did. And then I thought, man, I'm never going to find a singer of David's caliber, of course, So I thought this is the right time. So I joined.
Incredible. And you talk about the right time in there, and you joined just for that kind of whole explosion of that 1987 album. I mean, they were huge here in Europe already. I mean, David Coverdale, it was bluesy rock and huge across Europe and things like that. But the 1987 album really catapulted Whitesnake into the stratosphere in America, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was unbelievable. I had to pinch my arm every morning to make sure that it was real. And I was ready for it. We toured the United States twice with Vandenberg. First time as a special guest to Ozzy, the second time special guest to Kiss. So I had played those venues already, but with a band like Whitesnake, with David singing one of my all-time favorite vocalists, and Tommy Aldridge and Rudy Sarzo, who I met. Tommy was playing with Ozzy when we were sporting. And when we started headlining in the tour, Rudy was supporting us with Quiet Riot. So I knew Rudy and Tommy already.
Yeah.
And Vivian, I met him once and thought he was a great player, So we got on great. The vibe in the band was great. Played out to sold out arenas and stadiums every night. You can't beat it. Yes. So yeah, it was an amazing time. And for me, it lasted 13 years up to 1999. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, and then you helped to write all the songs on the follow-up album, didn't you? The Slip of the Tongue, but you didn't actually get to play on the record because of injury. So what happened there?
Yeah, I had a wrist injury. At the time, nobody could figure out what happened. I mean, initially it looked like I was doing exercises with my wrist to keep them loose. I bought a little book that had exercises for piano players because my wrist started feeling a little stiff every once in a while. And I assumed it was because of practicing too much or something. Years later, I found out it was the result of a car crash I was involved in 1981 or 82. I was hit by a car from the back, so I developed a whiplash. I had a lot of pain in my neck for about 3-4 weeks. And then the pain kind of went away. But in 1989, and then let's see, 1999, I found out I went one more time to a neurosurgeon, and he said, "Man, were you ever involved in a car accident or any other accident? I said, no, I don't think so. I forgot about it, because he showed me like an X-ray. He said you have two neck hernias who press against the nerve that kind of steer your index finger and your thumb. So making all the flickering movements and at the same time holding the pick in place. That had become the problem. So I had two operations in the United States, removing those neck hernias, but it never really came back. So over the years, I developed different techniques. Actually, the last 2 years, basically, I started doing that about 6 years ago. Slowly but surely, changing between my pick and using my nails as a pick. And right now, I basically only play with my nails.
Ah.
And I'm getting away with it because I play what I feel, so it's fine,
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, that must have been kind of hugely frustrating for being part of that band and coming up with the songs, but not actually being able to record at that point.
It really was, and it really took a while, especially when I heard Steve's parts. And he's an amazing player, as we all know. But it suddenly sounded so different than how I heard it in my head. It took a while to get used to it, and at the same time, I thought, man, I couldn't play. So how great is it that the guy of Steve's caliber plays my songs? So I gave a positive twist to the whole frustration, and then I was ready to play right on time to join the tour.
Yeah.
After getting treatment for like 6-7 months in Holland, and then every once in a while on that tour, once or twice a week, I made sure I went to a physical therapist to make sure that my shoulders were still loose enough because all those muscles were really tense because of the accident still. And your body also develops a different way of coping with it. Like, for instance, when somebody breaks their leg, the other leg takes over much of the pressure. In my case, after that injury, for between 81 and basically 89, my body got used to put too much pressure on my right hand arm because your brain thinks, I gotta get it, I gotta do it. So I got used to too much tension in that arm. So I really have to focus over the years to let it go, keep it relaxed and all that shit. So I'm still here, and they're not going to get rid of me very easily.
Not at all. And just quickly touching on David, I mean, you've mentioned him a few times. He's a huge star. He's got a great voice, a big personality. But what was he like to work with then?
It was great. We hit it off right away when I was in LA for those recording and for the talks about joining Whitesnake. And we stayed in touch and on the phone, whatever. But so since I joined, we became very good friends up to this day. We still are. We see each other. Sometimes it's like 2 years in between, and sometimes it's quicker, But I'm definitely going to see him this year. It was surreal, the first, especially the first show. But the first show, because one of my favorite vocalists, belting out night after night. I mean, every night he was singing like on the records. It was amazing. No wonder, his voice got quite some.
Yeah.
What do you call it? When a car, like for instance, my car, the car I drive, I'm not a big car guy, but I love this car. It's got 400,000 kilometers on it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how many miles it is, but I don't like that many cars, but this car, I love it. And so over the years, of course, you wear it down a little bit. So David always gave it all. So no wonder his voice, is going down a little bit, but he still got it. I mean, David put so much soul into his singing that it always translates. Whether it's not as high pitched as it was in the 80s, who cares? I mean, Frank Sinatra and Elvis sang all the way through the last day. Bon Scott did. All those guys did. And so did David. Only David's style is very demanding, especially since the '87 album, because before that, he sang more bluesy. He didn't do the screaming that much, unless in, for instance, Slow and Easy. He went a little bit more into that direction. But yeah, it was great. And playing with heroes like Tommy Aldridge, legendary. Rudy Sarzo became one of my all-time best friends, and Vivian, from his stint in Dio. It was great. Every night was fantastic.